Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream. Yes, it's been a while. I've been away, but we are back and there is plenty of news to dive into as always. We've got the latest on the pursuit of Liam Delap. We've also got the latest on Chelsea's wage structure causing issues in their hunt for a new striker. Who could have predicted that? Plus, of course, we're playing Legia Warsaw in the first leg of the Conference League quarter-final tonight as well. Plus, rumoured interest in Matias Tell still. Chelsea could reignite their pursuit of the 19-year-old if Spurs opt against making that move permanent. So there is lots to dive into as always, guys. Big yourselves up. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. We're 15 subscribers away now from 16K. That's going to happen today, guys. So please smash that subscribe button if you're new around here. And before we get on the road, and before I say hello to a few people, let me just quickly remind you guys, make sure you check out Jerseys FC Soccer Shop, 20% off your Chelsea kits and free shipping. Code Blue Brother. Link is in the description and pinned to the top of the chat. Names, numbers, sleeve patches, whatever you want on the back. Affordable prices, great quality. Jerseys FC Soccer Shop. Use code Blue Brother. Link in the description and pinned to the top of the chat. And let's say hello to a few people, guys. It's good to be back in the mix again. I've been away, not been live for a while, but we are here. And let's say hello to some of you. No to Delap. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I don't want Delap, I rather want Osimhen. Yeah, bro, we're not going to get Osimhen. Since we missed already on Delap for the price, is it a yes in my eyes? Yeah, I agree. I agree. We're going to dive into this. Yes, big up, big up, big up. If Ipswich get relegated, 30 million for Delap is 30 million for Delap. If Ipswich go down, which looks like they will do, is very very good. Yeah, it's the N'Golo Kante shirt. Kante 7 on the back had to be done after my meeting with the legend. Last week, earlier this week on Monday night. Little catch up with the legend N'Golo Kante. Yes, big up, brother. Hope you're doing well. Yes, big up, big up. Hope we're doing good, bro. Is either us or United for the lap? Yes, I'd say so in terms of Premier League clubs, but there's also interest from abroad as well, surprisingly. 12 Premier League goals in a poor Ipswich side is a very good return for someone in their first season. Very good return. Yes, Jimmy, big up, brother. Thank you, thank you. But let's start with one place then. Let's start with that man, Liam Delap, guys, because the Athletic have done a deep dive into the situation surrounding Delap. Let's start with, obviously, the news from yesterday, guys, in which it was confirmed that if Ipswich get relegated, Liam Delap has a release clause of £30 million, or it's around £30 million, which for a striker like him, his profile, his quality, £30 million in today's market is an absolute steal. An absolute steal. There's no two ways about it, guys. You know, that is a very, very good price. And the Athletic have reported that Chelsea have committed significant time and effort into pursuing Delap and are perhaps best place to do a deal. But they have other options. A significant part of Delap's thinking will come down to who offers the most wages. And that's, my friends, is where we're fucked. Because, as we know, Chelsea don't offer big wages. And that's another thing we're going to get into later on. But you can guarantee that out of the clubs interested in Delap, Chelsea will not be offering the highest wages. Absolutely no chance. Chelsea will not be offering the highest wages. United could offer more wages than Chelsea probably, but I think they're trying to move away from offering ridiculous wages to players. And yeah, we have committed a significant amount of time and effort to Delap. There's no doubt about it. You know, these rumours started even last summer that there were rumours. Then January, there were strong rumours. And now, ever since the January window closed, those rumours have gathered even more pace. And this is what the Athletic have said. The Athletic's information is more than half of the Premier League's clubs, so more than 10 clubs, are monitoring his availability with a view to capitalising on Ipswich's near guaranteed relegation to the Championship. Chelsea and Man United's interest in the 22-year-old is serious. The West London club have committed significant time and effort into pursuing Delap, who was signed at Manchester City by their co-director of recruitment and talent, Joe Shields, and then coached by Enzo Maresca. Chelsea are perhaps best placed for any possible deal, but the Blues have other options when it comes to signing a striker. Delap also features high on United's list of summer targets, and that stems from a firmly held belief at Old Trafford he is capable of filling their centre-forward role as an upgrade on Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. United's link with Delap goes back to the club's technical director, Jason Wilcox, who was previously in charge of City's academy. As it stands, Liverpool and Arsenal, two of the clubs scouring the market for a new forward, are prioritising others ahead of the player whose 12 goals in the Premier League this season represent more than a third of Ipswich's entire total. There are all sorts of other clubs in England's top division outside the top two who are intrigued by the buyout clause in Delap's contract. The figure is around £30 million, a number that is affordable to many of his prospective employees. Nor is the interest restricted to English football. Bayern Munich is a possible destination, with Vincent Kompany a big fan of Delap. There's also interest from Italy, specifically AC Milan. To add further intrigue, Man City have a buyback clause with Ipswich, but having signed Mamouche, that would be unlikely to be activated. So where does this leave everything? Ipswich hold the power for the most part, and it's fair to assume that some of Delap's other admirers, even clubs who are in a higher league position than, say, United, may reluctantly have to let them get on with it. Just because there's a buyout clause in place, don't automatically assume that Delap will go for a fixed price either. If two clubs or more meet the clause, it's quite possible that follow-up offers will be made and the numbers will start to go up. It's also inevitable that wages will come into it, and a significant part of Delap's thinking will come down to which clubs are offering him the highest salary. There are other considerations too, such as league positions, the possibility of playing in Europe, challenging for trophies, and Delap's desire to be a mandatory first-team pick. At Bayern, for example, would he get into the team ahead of Harry Kane? No, he wouldn't. Is there any benefit in staying at Ipswich? Probably not. Or would any clubs from Saudi Arabia be able to tempt him away? Unlikely again. At Ipswich, they talk about Delap having the self-assurance and work ethic that is almost always found in the elite forwards. So there we go. There we go. That is the Athletics deep dive on Liam Delap. And look, Chelsea are best placed, but again, we could find ourselves in a situation, guys, where we are facing serious competition for his signature. Serious competition for his signature. Yeah, I think Delap would be a good signing for Chelsea. I agree. Delap would be a good signing for Chelsea. But again, we are going to face competition for him. Yes, we've done a lot of work in the background. A lot of conversations have taken place surrounding a potential deal. But ultimately, until that deal's over the line, there is a lot of interest from other clubs. And as said, that 30 million quid roughly release clause was almost certain to be activated when Ipswich go down. There's going to be a lot of teams sniffing about. A lot of teams. Unfortunately, Benzema wasn't interested. Well, wasn't interested, surprisingly. I would agree to an extent, because I don't think Arsenal and Liverpool will go for Delap. I'd say that the pull is stronger for Chelsea than United. But again, if we're talking about first team football, I would say that yes, he would get first team football at Chelsea. But if he wants to be a starter most weeks, he's more likely to be a regular starter at Man United than he is at Chelsea to begin with. That's more for a wide player rather than a forward. I can see Delap going United if they get rid of Højlund, maybe. No, I hear that, but ultimately this is looking like the route that the club are going to go down, guys. So whether we like it or not, that appears to be the route the club will be going down, people. Again, look, I would, it'd be great, but ultimately, we're not going to offer the wages that those players want. I think someone brought up a good question. Who thinks Delap is a Champions League striker will be qualified for the Champions League? Is he that quality? I would say he's a good backup option for a Champions League side. That would be where I'm at with Liam Delap. I think right now, look, he could develop to be starting quality for a Champions League side. in years to come. But right now, if you're looking at Liam Delap and you're talking about Delap in the context of the Champions League, you're looking, in my opinion, at someone who is a Champions League quality striker in terms of being a backup. That would be my thoughts on it. Yeah, bro, that's unfortunately not going to happen. No, Delap's not going to Saudi. No, for sure not. When we sign Liam Delap, would you still be saying that the owners are ambitious to win? Look, I think the owners do want to win, but they've just got a certain way about going about it. So, look, is signing Liam Delap showing ambition? It's hard to tell. It's hard to say, really. It doesn't really scream ambition to me. But Delap would be a good signing. Is he gonna fire us to the title? No, probably not. Or certainly not for a number of years. But in terms of talking of improving the squad, Delap improves the squad. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, Newcastle a possibility as well if Isak goes, but I don't think Isak goes anywhere this summer. Backup, I agree. Definitely not a starter. We need more experience, especially if we're in the Champions League. Yeah, I hear it. The one problem I have with Delap is he's really is he really an improvement to Jackson? This is it's tough, isn't it? It's tough to say whether he's an improvement. He's definitely he's different. He's a different profile. He's a profile that we lack. He's got a different skill set. He's a goal scorer. He's got 12 goals in a struggling Ipswich team. I think that, is he an improvement on Jackson? I'd say that Jackson's a better centre. I would say Delap is a better out and out centre forward than Nicholas Jackson in terms of goal scoring and pure finishing ability. Obviously, doesn't quite have the link up play and the other bits that Jackson has. But yeah, look, it's an improvement. It's an absolute improvement. An absolute improvement, in terms of the squad for sure. Bro, Ivan Toney, I watched him on Saturday night for Al Ahly. He scored. I was at the stadium. He played reasonably well. As did N'Golo Kante. Played well, and Riyad Mahrez and Fabinho and Edouard Mendy in goal. See, this is where I disagree, right? Because more than ever in football, profile is so important. Getting the right profile, like, people overlook how important that is. People overlook how important the right profile is. Do you know Mikel in his broadcast? Yeah, but Mikel always talks about Osimhen to Chelsea, always, and I don't know if he knows anything. I don't know what he knows, but yeah, he always bangs on about Osimhen to Chelsea, and I just don't see it happening. I think they're fifth. Yeah, they're fifth, I think. Mendy better than Sanchez. Bro, you could literally replace Mendy's name with anyone's name, and there we go. Excuse me. The goal-scoring profile. Haaland's one of the best centre forwards in the world, and his profile does suit Man City. Just an out-and-out goal scorer at the top end of the pitch that they create loads of chances for. Chelsea don't play really in the same way as Man City do. And look, the Delap profile in terms of box presence, in terms of physicality, in terms of finishing, good in the air, strong, all the things that Jackson Jackson lacks, Delap is good at. And he is the profile of striker we're looking for. He's got the attributes that we're looking for in a striker. No, Delap would be good. I've got no doubt about it. Delap would be good for Chelsea. But again, in terms of moving to the next level, why can't we get Rashford? Because he's shite. That's probably why. I mean, I don't know how good Salah would be for a season at Chelsea. I don't know how good he would be. Of course, there would be exceptions to the rule if you're, talking about the very best of the very best. But we've done this many times before at Chelsea. We've just signed big names without giving any thought process to how they fit into the team and where they would play. It is more important to sign the right profile of player for your team rather than a name. Okay. And look, in certain instances, if you've got a chance to sign some of the best players in the world, then of course, yeah, absolutely, you would make an exception. But generally speaking, in my view, when you're putting a squad together, you want a squad of the right profiles, of players with the right profile that suit the way that you're looking to play, rather than just a collection of big names who don't fit what you're looking to do, and you're going to encounter problems to put a good team together. Sanchez said, I don't know where these Sanchez quotes are because I've not seen them. But yeah, look, one of Sanchez or Petrovic will absolutely move on this summer. I don't know what wages Delap's on at Ipswich. We'd obviously be able to offer a significant increase to his current Ipswich wages. We would be able to offer an increase to the Ipswich wages, no doubt. But whether we can offer what Delap's looking for, I don't know. And look, if it's purely down to money, then we've got a problem. But if money is just part of the factor and other things are important as well, then I think we will be okay. That's my view. But there's no doubt about it. Our wage structure and our wages are going to be an issue with signing a striker, because a striker is a difficult position. It's not Barca. It's Bayern Munich and AC Milan reportedly also hold interest in Liam Delap, which is kind of mad, really. Kind of mad. He's had a real emergence this season. A real emergence, guys. Yes, big up to Chelsea Australia, guys. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new as well. 15 away from 16K, guys. We're getting very, very close now. So please make sure you are smashing the like button, people, and subscribing as well. Let's get us to 50 likes, people, absolute minimum. And make sure you are running the subscribers up, guys, because we are 15 away. So please do it. Look, again, I don't know where Milan think they're going to get 30 million quid from, but yeah, Italian clubs seem to find a way. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. The pressure's different. You're going to like opposition teams will play very differently against Chelsea than they will against Ipswich. Yeah, it's absolutely a big step up. Absolutely a big step up. Bro, we're not getting 3 strikers this summer. Absolutely not. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? That would be nice. 20 grand per week wages for Delap. Fair enough. Yeah, look, we'll be able to offer Delap significant wages, 60, 70 grand a week, maybe. I would imagine we could offer that for sure. But it is a concern that wages are going to play a significant part. There's no doubt about it. That, people, is a concern. Because if it purely comes down to wages, I'm not sure how strong the Chelsea footballing project is to be enough to convince players, regardless of the wages, that is enough to come and join. That's the issue we're facing, guys. That is the issue we're facing. Is the sporting project strong enough to overlook being offered more wages elsewhere? That's the issue at play here, guys. And I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure it is. I don't get these targets. Oh, bro, yeah, I hear you to a degree, but bro, I don't see that happening. They got Haaland and they signed Mamouche in January. Where's he? Where's he? Where's Delap playing at City? He's not. He simply isn't. David, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Jonathan David on a free is not a bad signing. Not a bad signing whatsoever. Not a bad signing whatsoever. And someone's going to get themselves a very good deal. But reportedly there could be quite a large signing on fee for David. You know, that's always the case with free agents. There might not be a transfer fee, but wages could be big. And yeah, reportedly there's a there might be a big signing on fee. So yeah, that could be an issue. But yeah, look, Delap, you know, David is an interesting one. Osimhen, look, Chelsea always get mentioned with Osimhen, and we've done a lot of work, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening because unless I don't think so, because I don't see why he'd go back to City when a big part of his thing is wanting to be a regular first team player. He's not going to be a regular first team player at City. He's not starting ahead of Haaland. He's not starting ahead of Mamouche. So, yeah, I don't see it. I really don't see it. I do think we have got a very good chance of getting him. But again, you know, the Champions League is going to be crucial. The Champions League is going to be crucial. So that's kind of the latest on Liam Delap, is that Chelsea are perhaps best positioned to sign him, but there's significant interest from the Premier League. Significant interest from the Premier League, which could be problematic for us depending on how we finish the season. But we need to wrap up a deal quickly because there's going to be serious competition with Delap. And if we can get this done before the Club World Cup, that again would be another massive step in the right direction for us. But moving away from Liam Delap, but sticking with strikers, we have got an exclusive in the Daily Mail. And it comes from Kieran Gill, who does these good columns each week with a bit of a behind-the-scenes scoop on Chelsea. Confidential this week spoke with the camp of a striker who has been linked with Chelsea and others. I'm told he will not be turning up at Stamford Bridge anytime soon because, according to the agent, there are others who have been instantly willing to go higher in the weekly wages he would be guaranteed to take home. So, again, this is agent talk, of course. But I do believe that there are facts here in terms of Chelsea are going to be overlooked by players because of wages. And I'm not saying you throw silly money at average players. No. I'm not saying throw silly money at average players. But at the same time, especially when you're pursuing a striker, strikers are a rare breed, a difficult player to sign, a difficult player to write, you know, a unique skill set. One of the most important jobs, putting the ball in the back of the net on the football pitch. And that comes at a price. And that comes as a premium. And if Chelsea think they can get a top quality striker within their wage structure, then they're going to be very much mistaken. Very much mistaken. Because this article adds, and whilst I admire the good work, and when Chelsea released their financial accounts earlier this week, for the year ending June 2023, the wage bill was 352.4 million. And for the year ending June 2024, it was 294.6. So there's been a significant reduction in wage bill, which is good. And I applaud that because the wage bill was getting out of control. I've got no issue with the wage bill being significantly reduced. However, Chelsea have set a salary structure to which they want to adhere while remaining competitive, based on a low base by Premier League standards with big incentives built in. If you perform to your potential, you get your increases. If you do not, you receive the bottom line. It is seen as smart business. The bonus being it makes it easier to sell any assets not living up to expectation. Trouble is, strikers are expensive, as I was just saying, not only in transfer fee, but in the wages they command, especially when so many in England's elite level are currently engaged in the same search. It was already the priciest position. Now you have Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and many more competing to find themselves that centre forward who will take them to the next level. Hopefully you will forgive and understand the need for anonymity here. But Confidential this week spoke with a camp of a striker who has been linked with Chelsea and others. I'm told he will not be turning up at Stamford Bridge anytime soon because according to the agent, there are others who have been instantly willing to go higher in the weekly wages he would be guaranteed to take home. That includes one club currently situated in the bottom half of the Premier League. Chelsea don't pay salaries, the source said simply. Of course, this is simply the situation with one particular player. This is not to say Chelsea would refuse to make an exception if they set their sights on the striker they perceived as perfect of their project. I'm assured they would do that if necessary. But it would appear initially they are hopeful of finding the ideal centre-forward who will not only suit their playing style, but their playing structure without breaking the bank. Liam Delap is one of those very much on Chelsea's radar. But as previously reported, they face fierce competition from Man United. So this is what we've got. This is the problem we've got here, guys, is that, yes, this was one particular player, but when we're going for a striker, guys, these wages are a peak for us. These wages are peak, and they are potentially holding us back in our quest to sign a top-level centre-forward. Now, I admire Chelsea looking to try and find the perfect striker within that wage budget for the project, but that is going to be very, very difficult. That is going to be very, very difficult. I don't know what we do here. Now, of course, this report saying that, you know, this journalist saying that he's assured that were the right player to become available and Chelsea would view it the right player for the project, the right striker, then they would be prepared to go beyond that structure. But I will believe that when I see it. Because right now, there is little to no evidence to suggest that Chelsea would be prepared to pay high wages to land a top centre-forward. We could have done that last summer with Osimhen. We chose not to. So, again, why am I going to sit here and believe that we would be prepared to do that when we've shown no evidence whatsoever that we're prepared to do that? It's it's kind of baffling. It is kind of baffling, guys. I don't understand what we're looking for here. What are we hoping for? Like, are we hoping that these players are just going to accept what we're looking for? Is that what we're doing here? I mean, in principle, the wage thing is good. But guys, if you want to move forward as a club, if you want the top players, if you want to land a big centre forward, that comes at a price. And if you're not prepared to pay that price, someone else will pay that price, and you will get left behind, and you will continue to miss out on the top strikers. And then you're left with a situation where, you know, you really are being harmed. You really are being harmed. Guys, there's almost 100 in the building, only 34 likes. That's really poor. Please smash that like button, people. This should be at a minimum of 50 likes already, guys. So please run the likes up. Subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff as we push towards 16K, guys. 15 away at the moment, so please do subscribe. But guys, get the likes up. It helps out more than you could imagine. And yeah, it's really, really simple. So please do that, people. Please do it. I expect someone to let me know when we're on 50 likes in the chat, guys. Let's get to work. So that will be a class striker one day. Yeah, look, he could well develop into a top centre forward, no doubt about it. We ain't in that level of market anymore. Even Delap might be out of our reach. I don't think Delap's out of our reach. I don't think he's out of reach like Gabriel. But could be left with Jackson, Guillaume. Broya's done, finishing the project. I don't mark Guillaume as I think he'll become top. Yeah, look, Guillaume could become top. But again, you know, we need him to go and we need him to go and develop somewhere. You know, Guillaume needs a loan, maybe to a Strasbourg, maybe to a championship loan. Get used to English football. Maybe he could get a Premier League loan potentially somewhere. Who knows? So we're going to get left behind. The wage structure, the scouting, the selection of managers. We are royally fucked. I can understand why you think that. I don't think we're fully fucked, but this summer is going to basically tell us what sort of club Chelsea want to be under this ownership. If we go out and do what we need to do, then we can challenge in the next couple of years. If we don't go out and do what we need to do, and we do what the club wants to do, then we are essentially accepting that we are happy to be a club that sits top 4, top 5, and doesn't challenge for major trophies. That's what it is at the end of the day. We have to be flexible this summer. Profile, age, and wages. We need to create a balance. Yeah, we do need to create a balance. And the balance is the key word here, guys. Balance is absolutely the key word here. You need a good blend of youth and experience. And I think the best example right now of what Chelsea are looking to do and what Chelsea should be doing is PSG. You've got your Marquinhoses, your Hakimis, your Ousmane Dembeles, your Fabian Ruizes in midfield, your Kvaratskhelia. You know, you've got these experienced players, but then you've got exceptional young talent dotted in there. Exceptional young talent. Nuno Mendes, João Neves, Vitinha, Barcola, Desiree Doué. You know, you've got a perfect blend of youth and experience. Chelsea have got the youth, but they do not have the experience. Yeah, look, I agree with that. I do agree with that. And I do agree in principle. And on the whole, the wage structure is a good thing. Lowering the wage bill is a good thing. However, there are certain players and certain positions on the pitch where you need to break that wage structure. And a centre forward absolutely is that position. 100% centre forward is that position. And so that's where the focus needs to be. That's where the focus needs to be. Hopefully we can get a true 9 or bring extra help for Jackson. I mean, Cunha's not a centre forward, though. That's the thing. Cunha's another one of them players who's like a 10 wide player. You know, Cunha isn't an out-and-out 9. We don't need more of those players who aren't really a number 9, but they play as a 10 and they can play wide. We don't need that profile. I like Cunha a lot. Very good player. But that profile and what he is isn't what we need. Unless the owners do a complete U-turn on wages and transfers, I don't see Chelsea as a top 4 club anymore. Regressing at a fast pace. Yeah, look, I hear you. And look, look, the end of the season is going to be massive. If we get Champions League football, that's going to be big. And that's going to really help us in the summer in terms of looking at signing the better players. That will stand us in good stead. Yep, that's another key area of the pitch. I mean, Chelsea I know are keen on Mark Guehi, and I think Mark Guehi could well be the guy who arrives. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But he wouldn't know because he's not a centre forward. And this is the thing: we need to stop getting players who can play in positions, and we need to start signing specialists. That's what we need to do. We need specialists in their positions, not players. Oh, he can play here, he has played there, or he can do this and that or whatever. That's the reality. But let's move away from strikers and wages, guys, and let's move on to wingers, because Give Me Sport have reported that Chelsea could target Matias Tell if he leaves Tottenham at the end of the season. Now, we know, guys, that Chelsea was strongly linked Chelsea was strongly linked with Matias Tell in January. It didn't happen. He didn't see Stamford Bridge as the right place for his development. So at Spurs, I think he scored a couple of goals for Spurs, one in the FA Cup, I think, and one in the league last weekend. It's not been great. He's not been great there, to be perfectly honest. But Give Me Sport are saying Chelsea have refused to rule out the possibility of reigniting their interest in Matias Tell and may attempt to lure him to Stamford Bridge if rivals Tottenham Hotspur opt against triggering an option to make his loan switch from Bayern Munich permanent, Give Me Sport sources have revealed. The Blues are poised to have Dario Isugu arrive in the summer, thanks to already agreeing a deal worth in excess of 18 million with Portuguese giant Sporting. But head coach Enzo Maresca is going in search of more options on the flanks as he prepares for his second season at the helm. Although Pires and Esteval are also on course to head to Chelsea in the coming months, the West Londoners are monitoring Tell's situation at Tottenham ahead of potentially pouncing when the transfer window reopens. Chelsea could target Tell if he leaves Spurs at the end of the season, as their long-standing interest has refused to go away since holding initial talks over a possible move with Bayern Munich when they were searching for fresh attacking impotence during the January window. Tell ended up joining Spurs instead of Stamford Bridge, and there's a £45 million option to buy in the deal. But the Blues are monitoring his situation and could hand him an opportunity to remain in the Premier League if he does not extend his stay in his current surroundings. Give Me Sport have been informed that Tell fits the bill for Chelsea, as they are seeking a right-footed winger who is comfortable being deployed on the left flank. But they will have to play a waiting game as Tottenham decide whether to keep him on board permanently. And if they do, that would end Chelsea's pursuit. The 19-year-old Maresca is an admirer, of the 19-year-old as he goes in search of having 5 senior wingers, some of whom are being involved on both sides to compete for 2 wide positions next term. Chelsea have acknowledged Mudryk could still have to go through a time-consuming appeal process as he waits to discover whether his provisional ban for testing positive for meldonium becomes a suspension of up to 4 years. Give Me Sport sources have learned while they make a final decision on Jadon Sancho's future at the end of the season. I'll be honest, guys, I'm not here on the Matias Tell thing. I'm not here, guys. The Matias Tell thing is not for me. It's not for me. I think that's something that we should be staying well clear of now. I think it's something we should be staying well clear of. Tell is Spurs level. He didn't want to give his teammate the penalty to score a hat-trick. I don't really mind that, to be honest. He's definitely not a Doué or a Barcola. No, he's not. Also, you got the impression he was kind of snaking us before he then took the Spurs loan. Yeah, look, he didn't want to come to Chelsea, which is fine. But then he said he wanted to stay at Bayern Munich, and then he went to Spurs. The guy's confused. I think the guy is advised badly. He doesn't know what he wants. But I have to say, I would be surprised if he signed for Spurs, because he's the sort of player, in my mind, in my opinion, given how things played out in January, this is the sort of guy who is going to want to assess his options in the summer. There could be Champions League clubs coming in for him. Depending on what happens at Bayern Munich, there could be space for him at Bayern in the summer, next season. You just don't know, people. You just don't know. And I would be surprised if he committed himself to Spurs. I really would. But having said that, I don't think it's something that Chelsea should be doing. What's going on with Mudryk? He's currently serving a provisional suspension. Other than that, there's very, very little update on what's happening. It's clearly a very complex legal process. And yeah, there's obviously no major developments at this point in time. Having competition for Delap does not scare as much as having competition for Osimhen. The CIES Football Observatory Index has ranked the world's top 100 goalkeepers. Yeah, I mean, these lists are bullshit. Sanchez is poor. We're not getting anywhere near top 5 of the run-in. Even Fulham are on our shoulders now. 7th or 8th for me. Oh. Yeah, look, I said as soon as January window closed, we wouldn't get top 5 in Champions League football. Having said that, it wouldn't shock me if somehow we kind of flukes our way to top 5 through other teams just not being able to get any form of consistency into their games either. That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me at all, guys. Send Sancho back. Yeah, I hear it. Even when Everton signed Ken, they kept in the bench and preferred Calvert-Lewin. Yeah, Moise Ken's at Fiorentina having a very good season right now. Bit depressing. Sancho, Neto. Well, Neto won't be going. I wouldn't be surprised if Sancho and Madueke went. Yeah, not for me. Yeah, no, I'm not keen on Tell. Matias Tell for me, no, agreed, not. Did you really believe Delap can elevate Chelsea to the next level? Not straight away, no. Not straight away, no. I agree on that front. Not straight away. Meanwhile, Calvert-Lewin is nowhere to be seen. Yeah, he's shite. I think we will send Jadon Sancho back as well. That's the feeling that I'm getting. The guy just hasn't done anything. He just hasn't done anything. I wouldn't shock me if we get top 5. You'll still be in Champions League. Yeah, top 5. I'm taking top 5 right now. Guys, bear with me 2 seconds. There's someone at the door. Bear with me. Right. Yeah, look. I'd keep my. I would absolutely. Yeah. It's come early as well, guys. Come early this month. Fantastic news. Fantastic news. Yeah, I don't understand why people are hating on Madueke. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. You know, I think he's Chelsea's best winger. He's the winger that has offered the most this season. Sancho's offered nothing. Mudrik's out the picture. Neto's been disappointing. Madueke has offered the most this season in terms of wide players. He really has. So I just don't understand why people aren't keen on him. Semenyo, Cunha and Delap. Look, Semenyo's an interesting one. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea looks to target someone like a Semenyo, but let's wait and see. I mean, as long as it's not Garnacho, that's fine. Yeah, Morgan Rogers is a top player. Yeah, Sanchez P45 in the post would be fantastic. Would be absolutely fantastic to get Sancho's P45 in the post. Doué's top player. Doué's a really good player, guys. Really good player. It's tricky. It's tricky. I think it could well be a 6th or 7th place finish for us, guys. That's what I'm thinking. It could well be a 6th or 7th place finish, which would be mightily disappointing. We can't afford to be regressing. We cannot afford to be regressing. You know, that we cannot do that, guys. If we keep regressing, it would be terrible. Absolutely terrible. Keep Neto. He's the best winger we had and offered this season. Oh, Noni, you mean? Yeah. I don't hate Madueke, but he's too inconsistent. Yeah, he's our best winger and can beat his man, but the other two aren't exactly setting the bar very high. No, I also hear that. Jonathan David for free. Yeah, I wouldn't say no to Jonathan David either. I wouldn't say no to a move for Jonathan David, guys. I think exactly that. A load of nonsense. I don't know. I don't know where this stuff comes from, but it is baffling. I don't for 1 second believe that there's an ounce of truth in that whatsoever. Yeah, there's also that. But in terms of other wide players, you know, there's this Give Me Sport article offers a bit more in terms of the conversation surrounding the wide players. Gittins and Williams also on Maresca's radar. Tell is not the only forward on Chelsea's radar, as Gimme Sports sources have been told that Borussia Dortmund's Jamie Gittins is high in their thinking, while there remains a long-standing interest in Nico Williams after he has continued shining for Athletic Bilbao since winning Euro 2024 with Spain last summer. Williams has a release clause in the region of 50 mil written into his contract, which the Blues could trigger in order to open talks over personal terms without his current employers being able to interfere. But there is an awareness that the deal would still be expensive. Chelsea need to decide whether it would be cost-effective to land Williams, as they would still have to fork out hefty agent fees, and Williams would be eyeing a lucrative pay package in order to swap his boyhood club for Stamford Bridge. Give me Sports sources understand, resulting in Maresca and influential figures keeping their options open. And again, guys, as I've said before, I do not understand why we keep getting linked with Nico Williams when, in my view, we know full well there's no chance that we are paying the Nico Williams the Nico Williams wages. You know, Williams is a good player. You know, I like him. He offers a lot. The transfer fee is very affordable. But at the same time, guys, the wages are a joke. We're not paying those wages. There's no, for me, there's no way we're paying those wages. Absolutely no way. Absolutely no way. But yeah, that's the way it is, people. That's the way it is. But yeah, it's not happening. I can't see it. I'd love to be wrong, and maybe, you know, there could be a couple of exceptions to the wage structure in the summer. Maybe there could be, guys. Maybe there could be, but yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Tell's got 2 goals in 9 appearances for Spurs, so he's not exactly doing great. Personally, I think George has looked really promising with the limited minutes he's had. Yeah, George has looked good, but again, I don't see George having a future at Chelsea. Unfortunately, guys, I don't see it. I think he will be loaned out next season. Maybe even sold. Maybe even sold, guys. Maybe even sold. Who knows? And we've had a little bit of an update. Yeah, Disasi got turned inside out by Kavicha Kvaratskhelia. He got absolutely done. Yeah, someone else mentioned that in the chat. This is why I can't take these things seriously, because we know with our eyes Sanchez is shite. You know. But yeah, anyway, there's a little bit of an update on Andrey Santos. A bit of an update on Andrey Santos. Guys, keep smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds to do, and it really helps me out. We're on 53 likes. Let's get this up to 70 likes if we can. And people, keep hitting that subscribe button. We're still 15 away from 16K. So please smash the subscribe button, guys. It would really help me out. And let's hit that milestone. It feels like it's taken forever to knock off these final 100 subscribers, guys, to get to the 16K. So let's get there, people. But yeah, a little update on Andrey Santos from Spanish journalist Eduardo Burgos. Andrey Santos will play the Club World Cup, but he wants to be important and play minutes. Several clubs are interested in him. Now, that's hardly a surprise. That is hardly a surprise. Hardly a surprise at all that several clubs are interested in Andrey Santos. And this is where the problem is going to lie. So, Andrey Santos wants regular minutes. We know that. He's barely 20 years old, but plays like a veteran. Andrey Santos has exploded onto the scene in France. The midfielder has emerged as a Liga sensation at Strasbourg, establishing himself as the second highest scorer in the entire squad. On loan from Chelsea, his development is being monitored in London ahead of next season. Maresca wants him, although no doors are closed for now. At Strasbourg, they dream of the Champions League, largely thanks to the Brazilian. Coach Liam Rossinha did not hesitate to give him the baton in midfield, and Santos responded with flying colours. Santos stands out as a modern box-to-box midfielder, although since his time at Vasco da Gama, he already showed promise as an attacking midfielder, and he has stolen all the spotlight. At the moment, he has 10 goals and 2 assists. Andre's redemption has been fierce. He spent a disappointing time in 6 months at Nottingham Forest, but as a second home in France. Such has been his impact that Brazil couldn't understand his absence from Dorival Jr.'s squad for the recent international break. Now, with Jorge Jesus about to take over, he'll have a new opportunity. Meanwhile, Chelsea are rubbing their hands with the most prolific of their loan players. The Blues' plan is clear. They're counting on Andrey for the Club World Cup to partner Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. The board is counting on the player for next season. They didn't bring him back in December as to not hinder his development. However, Andrey wants to be important. He's earned it through hard work. A lot of people send me news about Chelsea, but I don't think there's anything concrete. No one has come to speak to me directly. It's in Chelsea's hands, in my hands. When the season is over, we'll see what happens. We'll sit down and talk to make the best decision for everyone involved. Of course, you want to play for the biggest clubs in Europe, for a club as big as Chelsea. Of course, you dream of that moment. But I think it's time to keep a cool head, finish the season here, and make the best decision when it's over. Now, this is the difficult bit, guys. This is the difficult bit. And it's going to be a very hard balancing act here. Because this is the tricky thing, guys. Because how do you balance having, what is it? Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, Santos, and Asugu. You know, you've got to play a striker, you've got to play Palmer, and you play 2 wingers. How are you balancing all this together? You know, you can already see from listing those players, someone in the near future is going to be is it dissatisfied or unsatisfied? Whatever it is, they're going to be dissatisfied, I think it is. You know, there's a chance, competing on 4 fronts, injuries, etc., that all of these guys can be content and happy together over the next few years. But there's also a chance that won't run. And this is what Chelsea need to think about is it's very difficult. I mean, look, ultimately, you can, until Lavia proves he can stay fit, maybe you take him out of that conversation. But the point still stands, guys, is how are we going to balance keeping all these players happy? How are we doing that? That's the big thing for me, guys. How are we doing it? Because some of these players are going to become dissatisfied. You've got Dario Asugo being chucked into the mix as well. He's arriving. You've got 5 midfielders essentially for 2 spots. And we've got arguably 4 midfielders in Santos, Lavia, Enzo, and Caicedo, who are all good enough to start and who all deserve significant minutes. And this is where things get a bit tricky. This is where things get a bit techie. You know, and yes, if you're good, you'll play. Of course, yes. No, there's no denying that. If you're good, you will play. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely, if you're good, you'll play. But the owners will balance it by selling their best players. Yeah, maybe. The fact nobody at the club has spoken to him is extremely worrying. No, I don't think it is. You know, he's on loan. You know, he's doing his thing. Have the conversations at the end of the season. I don't think it's a concern or a surprise that no one's spoken to him. I don't see that personally as a big deal. Lavia's done. I wouldn't say he's done, no. But next season's vital. If it's another season, next season like this season, then there's a conversation to be had. 100%. But look, I'm prepared to be patient with Lavia. If PSG are real and Barca can do it with their midfield, we can do it too. What are PSG doing with their midfield? They've got Ruiz, Neves, and Vitinha, and they've got Zaire Emery on the bench. I don't know. I'd like to think not. I would like to think not. But ultimately, at the end of the day, guys, that cannot be ruled out. It cannot be ruled out. And that would be a huge disappointment. We have to look at the system of play to fit players in rather than losing players. They'll sell Santos for 60 M's. It's not a concern. Why do they need to speak to him during the season? You know, why do they need to speak to him during the season? Chelsea are happy with his development from all the reports, and they'll sit down and have a conversation at the end of the season. You know, that's quite normal. For me personally, I don't see that as a major issue, and I wouldn't have thought there's been absolutely zero contact from Chelsea. Chelsea will be fully aware of how he's doing, and they'll sit down and have a conversation at the end of the season. That's pretty normal. You know, and Santos will be vital for us next season, and he will have an important role to play. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I absolutely agree on that front. I think he will play. And that's what I'm thinking. Look, you can balance it, but it is going to be tricky, and eventually players will become unhappy. You know, there's no denying it. There's no denying it. Caicedo might have to be back up right back. Well, we do still have Gusto, so I don't think that. Look, Esteval Willian is set to compete for minutes in the first team squad. True. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how that goes. People, let's get this to 70 likes. We're 6 away with 102 in the building. Big up to everyone that is locked in. Please smash that like button, guys. It's free and it takes seconds, and please subscribe as well. Delap wants to be first choice. Yeah, look, Delap would get regular minutes at Chelsea. He would get regular minutes at Chelsea. For sure. For sure. Chelsea, the reports are suggesting that Santos is not for sale, but unfortunately, because of previous goings on, I have to be very careful to think, oh, he's definitely staying. Until the window's closed and he's in that Chelsea shirt, I won't believe it. That's the unfortunate reality. You know, and it's a shame to be feeling this way, but that's how it is, guys. Fuck's sake. Yeah. I've been away for 10 days, which is why I've been slightly missing in action and doing videos from hotel rooms. Is because I've been away for the last 10 days. Landed last night, and we're back in the mix. So yeah, I will be attending games. Yes, I've not disappeared or anything like that. I was just recharging the batteries, having a break, and all good. We're back. It's not for sale. How much is Santos even worth? Yeah, I mean, look, I would say you're looking at 50, 60 million pounds. That's what I'd be saying. For me, yeah, I reckon 50 or 60 M's. Yeah, Delap did cook us. He did, and he's having a good season. He's having a good season. Yeah, as I said, 50, 60 million. Hi, mate. Big fan of the channel. Appreciate. Remember to strike while the cheese is warm. Not heard that before, but yes, I will be striking whilst the cheese is warm. Thank you, brother. No, I'm not going to the Chelsea match in Poland tonight. I literally landed back from Saudi last night, so no, I won't be going to Poland. I'll be watching though, for sure, and I'll be at the second leg next week. The Lap has too many demands. Somebody only plays for Ipswich. I don't think he's got. I don't think he's got demands. It's just his next move. He doesn't want to go somewhere where he's not going to play regularly. That's quite normal. I'm with you on this one. I also think Petrovic could be sold. I wouldn't be surprised if Petrovic is sold purely based on the fact there's going to be more of a market for him than there's going to be for Robert Sanchez. Well, when I see him next, I'll ask him. When I see him next, I'll ask him. All these young kids might be great in France and Brazil. We need them. We need to bed them in slowly and not throw them under the bus. All these young kids might be great in France and Brazil. We need to bed. Look, there's not going to. I don't think we're going to just chuck them in at the deep end. But Santos has shown that he's more than good enough. To perform in the Premier League. But of course, the Premier League will be different to France. It'll be a different way of playing. The pressures of playing for Chelsea will be totally different than the pressures of playing for Strasbourg. So, yeah, let's kind of see, guys. Let's see. Sure, could be a surprise name. Who knows? News about Delap is that there serious interest from Chelsea and Man United. There's interest from Bayern Munich and AC Milan, and more than half of the Premier League clubs are monitoring Delap's situation. £30 million release clause, roughly, if Ipswich get relegated, which is looking like a formality at this point in time. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Yeah, just trying to do a little bit, doing a bit of deals. It would be nice, wouldn't it, if I was out negotiating a new ownership, guys? But no, I wasn't doing that. But I did have a catch up with N'Golo Kante, which was mad, and also met Karim Benzema whilst I was out there, which was kind of mental as well. But anyway, enough about that. I'm not sure people really care, to be perfectly honest. So let's get back to the show. Will we get a defender? I think Guehi is exactly the kind of defender that we will end up with. Yes, that is what I do believe. I think we'll end up with someone like Mark Guehi. And I don't want to say that in a disparaging way. But it is what it is. That bro, Benzema was not keen. Benzema was not keen for coming back to England. And I tell you what, when you see the Saudi lifestyle, you can see why he wouldn't be keen to he wouldn't be keen to come to Chelsea. The guy is living like a king out there. Yeah. So unfortunately, people, I tried to slip it into conversation. Just a little, Kareem, come back with me on the flight to London. But no, he wasn't keen, and I don't blame him. The lifestyle out there is it's pretty good, I would say, guys. It's pretty good for these ballers. Hope he goes to United. What? Look, again, I don't know why people are hating on Delap so much. Look, it's not exactly like, wow, a massive name and whatnot. I get it. But it would be a good signing for Chelsea. It would be a good signing for Chelsea, in my opinion. It would be a good signing, guys. But hey, what do I know, people? What do I know? What's this Delap update here on my phone? Let's quickly get back to this Liam Delap stuff, guys. There's been a small update. Kind of basic, or just really what we've gone through anyway, but let's just do it anyway. Let's just do it for sure anyway. Like clockwork, people, there's a big thing from Carve Solocol at Sky. Fuck me, this is like an essay. Bear with me, guys. Chelsea will sign a striker this summer. Thank the Lord. And Liam Delap is one of the names under consideration. The 22-year-old forward fits the profile they are looking for, and he will be available for £30 million if Ipswich Town are relegated. As well as Delap, Chelsea are interested in Leipzig's Sesko, Lille's Jonathan David, and Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike. Long-term target Victor Osimhen is also still being monitored, although at 26, he would be the oldest and most expensive option. Jesus Christ, 26 and you're over the hill. What has happened? Chelsea's sole focus at the moment is qualifying for the Champions League, and finishing in the top 5 will improve their chances of signing the goal scorer they need to strengthen their squad. Chelsea's strategy in the transfer market under the American owners has been to sign young players on long contracts. Any move for Delap would be made through official channels after Chelsea and Ipswich have nothing left to play for this season. The two sides are facing each other on Sunday at Stamford Bridge, but it would be unrealistic to assume any discussions will take place about Delap, considering Ipswich are fighting to avoid relegation and Chelsea are targeting Champions League qualification. Chelsea have good relations with Ipswich, and as both sides have so much to play for, now is not the time to be talking about potential transfer deals. So, there's interestingly here, there is zero mention of Victor Gyökeres. Zero mention. No mention of Gyökeres. There's a new name in there in Hugo Ekitike. I didn't realise that Chelsea had potential interest in Ekitike. That's certainly a new one. Jonathan David, we know about on a free. Osimhen mentioned, but I'm still not convinced on that. Again, Ekitike is having a good season at Frankfurt, but Frankfurt would want big money for Ekitike. They would want serious dough for him. And I'm not sure if we're in a position to be offering serious dough. Again, I'm not convinced on Sesko either, guys. I have to be real. I'm not fully convinced on Sesko. But no Gyökeres. No Victor Gyökeres has been mentioned, guys. Yeah. I mean, look, doesn't mean it's going to happen. Doesn't mean it won't happen. But the fact that Gyökeres, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Fuck's sake. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I'll be honest with people. I think Gyökeres is going Arsenal. No, that would be my prediction right now. I reckon Gyökeres is going Arsenal. I wonder if there's any names that haven't been mentioned here that could be a surprise. There could be some surprise names, on the list. Guys, we're 8 likes away from 80, 110 in the building. Make sure you're smashing that like button. Get it up to 110. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Get this up to 80 likes, people. 8 likes to go. Smash the like button. And of course, subscribe. Are we any closer? Yeah, we are a little bit closer. 14 to go. Let's try and get 4 more, guys. Get it down to the final 10 people. Run it up and smash the likes. Sesko, Gyökeres will go Arsenal. For me, I prefer Sesko than Delap. I think Delap would be better suited to Chelsea than Benjamin Sesko would. That's just my opinion. I find it hard to believe that Chelsea would have such a long striker wish list without Gyökeres being in there. Or maybe they know, or maybe they already know, having signed 2 players from Sporting in Giovanni Quenda and Dario Asugu, maybe they know that Gyökeres is not keen for a move to Chelsea. Maybe they would have asked during those negotiations and Gyökeres wasn't keen. We need Champions League back. Watching the Arsenal Madrid match reminded me of where we rightfully belong. Yeah, we do. We desperately need it back, guys. We desperately need it back. That is true. Bro, I wouldn't be against signing Mateta either, but it goes against everything we've been doing under this ownership. It goes against everything we've been doing under this ownership. Yeah, no, I've seen that, and that's in this. He's just condensed it slightly, but yeah, let's get the condensed version out because essentially what we're saying here is these are the 4 strikers according to Carve Solocol at Sky that Chelsea are interested in the following strikers: Liam Delap, Benjamin Sesko, Jonathan David, Hugo Ekitike, and they continue to monitor the situation with Victor Osimhen. But that's all it is. So yeah, out of those 4 names, I would take. Look, I've maintained, and I've said it all along. We need to sign 2 centre forwards this striker this summer. In my opinion, we need 2 centre forwards. Delap at £30 million and Jonathan David on a free. I would take it. I would absolutely take it. But you look at those 4 names, and you have to be really, really honest. It's not that inspiring. It's not that inspiring, sorry. It really isn't. And that's disappointing. It's not inspiring particularly, guys, but I mean, yeah, fuck. Yes, big up, brother. Big up, big up. Yes, all good, all good. Yeah, had a very good time. Yes, I went to, what did I do? I went to Al Nasser Al Hilal and I went to Al Ali Al Ittihad. Both 2 good games. 2 good games. If we get Champions League football, then we have more of a chance of signing bigger names. I don't really know if we do. Maybe it increases our chances slightly, but I don't really think it changes. I don't really think it changes an awful lot, to be perfectly honest. Ekatike is a weird transfer. No, look, disappointed because you always think that maybe there might be some sort of an exception. But yeah, look, I've 99.9% ruled out Osimhen and Gyökeres. A 0.1% just because in football, never say never, but I've kind of ruled them out. I don't know if Ekatike is a weird transfer. If you look at what Ekatike has done this season, he's had a very good season. Now, obviously, he was at PSG where it didn't really work out for him. He had a very good season. Where was it that he had a good season? I think it was at Stade Reims or Stade Rem. He joined PSG, didn't really work out for him at PSG, and then he made the switch from PSG to Frankfurt last summer after an initial loan spell. And this is his first season in the Bundesliga. He's 22 years old. And he's got 19 goals and 8 assists in 40 appearances in all comps. He's got 13 goals and 4 assists in 27 Bundesliga appearances. He's kind of a centre forward who can also play like off the striker as like a 10, like a second striker, shadow striker. He's having a good season. He's having a good season for sure. Absolutely, he's having a good season. But at the same time, I'm not fully convinced. I agree that overpaying for strikers is pointless, for sure. Look, £30 million with Delap is a very good deal. A very, very good deal. Superb deal, actually, in my opinion. Where is the news of the goalkeeper situation? There isn't really any news of the goalkeeper situation right now. Nothing new. Yeah, and there's also that as well. And I'd also probably like to see a bigger body of work from him. You know, is this season kind of a one-off, or can he repeat it next season? Plus, it's looking likely that he'll have Champions League football at Frankfurt next season. Yep, true. But again, how much higher is that? Is that 30% going to be high enough to take us to the next level? I don't know. I don't know. I'm really not sure. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. Yeah, I think we just need to forget about that. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I think we just got to forget about that. We just have to forget about that. Yeah. We're not going anywhere with this inverting foolishness. No, look, Mamouche and Ekatike had a good little thing going on. They had a good little thing going on. I mean, you don't even need to put Jackson on the left. You can just have those three as a rotating options. I don't think that for me personally wouldn't be terrible. After watching the CL this week, no team playing this inverted full. I mean, I can't remember if any team's inverted or not. No idea. I don't know. But look, those are the four names that have been mentioned in terms of interest. There could be others that haven't been mentioned, but I would suggest it'll be one, maybe two of those four. And my bet, my strongest feeling right now is it will be Liam Delap for 30 million quid, and it'll be Jonathan David on a free. That is what I think Chelsea will do in the striking area this summer. But yeah, guys, let me just check if there's any final bits and pieces going on. I don't think there is. No, I don't think there is. We've got a game tonight, though, guys. First leg against Legia Warsaw. Potentially, yes, he would be potentially. You know, Milan might have to sell some key players if they miss out on Champions League football, which is looking very likely they will. We've got a game tonight against Legia Warsaw, guys. First leg. We should be winning that. Shouldn't be too many issues. So, yeah. I'll be back with a match review for that later on. It'll be an upload. Not going to be enough information to go live, so it'll be an upload. Make sure you stay tuned for that after the game. Guys, it's good to be back streaming again. Good to be back interacting with you lot. Big love for all the support, as always, people. Make sure you smash that like button on the way out. We're on 82 likes. Smash the likes. Let's get this up to 90 if we can. And let's get this up to 90 likes on the way out, guys. Smash that like button. Please subscribe as well. We're about 12 subscribers away from 16K. So smash the subscribe button on the way out. Guys, love for the support today. Big up to every single one of you. Smash that like button. Stay tuned for the match reaction after the Warsaw game tonight. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the game wherever you are watching. And yeah, as always, up the Chelsea. Like, subscribe, and we're out. Peace.